You guys excited? Okay, so we're going to do a virtual hug to our team out there. Hi, guys. We love you. Hug yourselves. Learned a lot today? Anybody have anything you want to take with you and you can't wait to implement? You can't wait to start? Have you ever been to a conference before and you got super excited? Have you ever gotten home and reality set in? See, I thought that only happened to me. But reality does set in, right? We live in a real world with the real challenges, but also with the equal opportunities. So today, we've had an incredible day, and every time I go to I hate this. Okay, you guys, this is going to be a challenge for me. I'm going to be obedient, but I do not like microphones. And actually, if we weren't recording, I probably wouldn't need it because I talk loud enough. But in any case, we've just had so much great information today. And we started with our wonderful product. And it's not just about product, it's called solutions. We provide solutions. Nancy talked about our comp plan, which is the best comp plan in the world. Ron came up and talked about our support systems, and I tell you, that was so timely, because as a leader, oftentimes I get people say, well, my husband doesn't support me, or whoever doesn't support me. And so I was very, very excited to hear Ron talk about that. He gave me some learning points and some teaching points, and I'll use them, and I hope you use them. Tammy, oh, Tammy, Energizer Bunny, that's what we used to call her. So Tammy came up and did a great presentation on vendor events, and some of you were standing there, you were sitting there thinking, well, I'm not Tammy, I can't do that. Yeah, nobody, I wouldn't tell Tammy no. If she was walking by me and she said, come on, I'd say, okay. I wouldn't tell her no, but it's okay. You don't have to be Tammy, okay? And then our dear loving Bev, my twin, did a great presentation on spa shows. And she truly is a spa show queen. She loves to do her spa shows, and she's a lot of fun. And all of us, if you noted, all of us who are speaking today, we all have very different personalities, don't we? But guess what? We are a combination of each other. Everybody who spoke today, I've learned from many of you. And so the areas that you're not strong in, you have an opportunity to just learn from people who are strong, and then you work your gifts. So if I didn't talk about goals, it wouldn't be Gloria Brice, right? One of the things I can positively, absolutely guarantee you is that everybody who is promoting, everybody who is hitting that director level, there's one thing that we have in common, and what is that? We set goals. Nancy talked about the roadmap. If you don't have a roadmap, you have absolutely no idea of when you've arrived, do you? If you don't know where you're going, you don't know when you've gotten there. And the great thing about Jordan Essentials and the tools that we have in place is we have this great profile, consultant profile, and it's something that if you have never done, you want to do that, because what the profile does, it allows you to define your why. You can always run back to it. When you're off course or just everything is going wrong and I don't know why I'm doing this and go back to your profile. Look at your why. A strong why is incredibly important. So today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about some vital actions, okay? So we are all excited. We can't wait, and I've actually pulled some stuff out. I'm a huge believer. If I'm going to sit in a training or listening to a training, I want to pull out one or two things from that training I'm going to implement. Otherwise, it's a waste of my time, because knowledge and its proper use is power. The problem that we have sometimes, though, is that we want to do it all at once. Oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this. And we haven't written a plan. We haven't defined it. And we get out there and we get so overwhelmed. What do? Nothing. I promise you, I can tell you that happens even to me today. Not often. And if I'm doing nothing, it's only for a short period of time, because I can hear Ron Bogart in my head. Stop planning, Gloria, and just do it. Yeah, that was some of the most valuable lessons I've ever learned. So we're going to talk about 3 vital actions first that you'll want to use to get on track and stay on track. And the first one is systems. I love John Maxwell. And John Maxwell says, motivation gets you started. And we're motivated today, right? But habits get you there. So as motivated as I want to be, if I don't have some good habits or systems in place, I am not going to stay the course. And I'm a huge believer in staying the course. Consistency, that's another very vital action. And consistency, Debbie Agee wrote something in a newsletter a couple months ago, I don't remember when, but it was something to the effect, keep moving even if it feels like you're walking in place. I love that. I've used that so many times, because sometimes when we're doing things, it feels like we're not going anyplace. It feels like we're just doing it in vain. Oh, I had to show and only one person showed up. Oh, they said do this and I did this and this didn't happen. If you stay the course and if you consistently do things over and over and over again, now you got to tweak it. Anytime you have a situation, you have a party or whatever, and you have an outcome that's not the outcome you want, it's so important to stop and evaluate what happened here. Is there anything else I could have done? When I have had those, you know what the number one problem was? Me. Because I didn't do what I needed to do in the background. For instance, having something at my house, spending all my time on cleaning the house, preparing food, all of the things. Instead of people, instead of saying, hey, Donna, we're getting together on Saturday, of making those contacts, as Bev was saying, those relationships. So it's very important to maintain consistency no matter what it feels like, no matter what it looks like. And Darren Hardy, in The Compound Effect, talks about that. You do something over and over time, you're going to see results. We live in a microwave society, so we like instant gratification. Instant gratification is not usually how we achieve the big goals. And then bookends. I think it's Darren Hardy who talks about bookends in his book. I'm a reader, by the way. But bookends, I really like. You hear Nancy always say, start strong, end strong. I'm a huge believer in that. I like to have something on my books within the first 7 days of the month. I like to have some sales. I like to have something happening. And you know why? Because what I've learned from painful experience is that life happens. Even though I may have something scheduled for the 17th, or I may have something scheduled for the 23rd. I have an aging mother. Things can happen. You might have to get on a plane. So I like to have something behind me. I like to have something behind me before I go on a cruise. Makes me feel better. Makes me enjoy the cruise more. So those are 3 vital actions. And so let's talk about 3 vital habits. And the first one I'm going to talk about is relationships. Relationships are the key to everything we do. And it starts with the relationship with your maker and the relationship with yourself. And if you're a person who constantly puts yourself down, I can't do this, nobody will buy from me, you've got to start with that, because I promise you, if you say that and you believe that, it is exact outcome you're going to get. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. We reap what we sow. And words, I tell you, there is so much power in words. If we only knew that. If you're a person who always saying, well, I'm always, I never, I can't, I won't. It's true. You won't. And Henry Ford, you guys know who he is. He said, if you think you can, you can. And if you think you can't, you can't. So relationships are key. Spend more time with people. Well, first of all, spend more time on yourself than you do on others, according to Danny Johnson, and I believe that. But spend more time on people instead of things. And I used to get wrapped up in things. And I know my emeralds, I got a little bit of that in me too. You know, you'll start researching and you'll start reading and, you know, you got to find this and you got to create this chart. And I used to do it a lot. And then we're not spending any time on people. And then when we, at the end of the month, we wonder why we don't have any sales. It's because people are the people who are spending the money, not things. I love this one. Prosper where you're planted. If you're faithful over few things, then I will make you ruler over many. And you guys know that didn't come from me. But it is so true. So often we talk about, oh, I want this, and oh, if I had a bigger house, if I had a bigger office, if I had a better car, if I had, if my husband was better looking. Well, I'm not talking about me because mine is fine. But, honey, are you watching this? But in any case, you know, so oftentimes we are always thinking about if we had, and many times we don't look around us and count the blessings that we have around us. For instance, right now, I can look across this room and count my blessings because you guys are a blessing to me. Sometimes when we want that bigger car, we don't take care of the car we're riding in. Or we want that better house and we don't take care of the house. Or we want a bigger team and we don't take care of the team we have. Or we want more sales and more customers and we're doing no follow-ups. And we have this great sale on Dead Sea Salt and we know these people who love it and we don't call them and say, hey, Debbie, guess what? I can't wait to tell her that we have lavender back. But guess what? Dead Sea Salt is on sale. That is prospering where you're planted. Danny Johnson talks a lot about that in First Steps to Success. And if you don't have that book, I'm not going to do any advertising here. It's just something about that book. If you don't have it, it is so simple to get. It's $7 shipping at DannyJohnson.com, and you don't have to buy all the rest of the stuff. In fact, I don't advise you to do it because you can only do one thing at a time. Read the book, put it into practice, read it again. I think I'm on my fourth read. I know I'm a little anal. But put it into practice. Stop it, Cindy. Put it into practice. And then if you want to move on to something else, move on to something else. And I want to do a little plug in about training. I'm a huge believer in training. I believe that if you're not doing some kind of training once a week, you know, you're hurting yourself. But don't get yourself so overwhelmed in reading and whatever if you're not, and that you're not doing any action towards your business. Keep in mind, the reason you're doing all that reading and whatever is so you can have knowledge that you can implement in your business and in your life. And then scalability. Danny definitely talks about this one, and when I read it, I had to think about that one. And what it basically means is having others expand your business. And this was a good one for me, and this is something I started implementing, and it's working really well. I'm a creature of habit, and I have some very, very close friends and close hostesses, and, you know, we're really tight, and we have a fellowship every month. And I found that sometimes I really wasn't expanding as I should, so I have a different approach to that now. Every event, you know, my goal is always to have X amount of new people there, and that's working out really well. And your hostesses are a great way for doing that because they're inviting new people you don't know. They're expanding the circle. As Bev talked about the makeup event she did with the teens, that expanded her circle tremendously because they all have moms and their moms have friends and that kind of thing. Your consultants, when you're working with your consultants, Sharon knows people I don't know. She's in St. Louis. I know that Shelley and team are out there. Hi, guys. They know people I don't know, and that's getting the word out. Why do we want to get the word out about Jordan Essentials? We want to get the word out because it works. One of the greatest compliments I could ever think of was on the 1st of February at a spa event I was doing. Some customers, hostesses were talking about why they love Jordan Essentials. And one young lady who loves Jordan Essentials products She stood there and she just kind of looked at us all quizzically. You know, she just had that look, and then she said, I like it because it works. And she didn't rehearse that. But just think about that. She likes it because it works. So scalability. Okay, so 3 vital systems, and I'm going to park on this one for a minute. You guys know I will. The goal card. What's very interesting, when I did these notes, I wasn't looking at the goal card. I was just looking at, I asked myself, what works? What's working for you? What's working for the team? And that's how I did the notes. But then when I looked at the goal card later, I realized all of those things are just wrapped right up in the goal card. All of the things that we're talking about, they're already on there. It is just a matter of doing them. And thank you. So there, if you look at it, and I don't want to see a show of hands. If you have not done your goal card this month, it is something that you want to get done. Can I tell you why? Well, I'm going to tell you anyway. You knew that. That was a rhetorical question. Because if you feel like you're too busy to do your goal card, you need to do the goal card more than anybody else. You know why? Because it is what will ground you. It will let your mind slow down a minute. You got a testimony? Are you testifying back there, Miss Peggy?
I feel, but I'm not.
Okay.
On the gold card, on that 3rd row, and they got all the little boxes. What are you supposed to put in there at the beginning of the month? Somebody's name? A little tiny name?
Actually, this does not look. It is. I'm sorry. It's not the right one, Peggy. I'm sorry. It's not. And my fault. I didn't tell you. It's. Don't worry about it. Don't put it up. I'm glad you asked that question because I would have been totally off as I was talking. It's a different gold card. It's the one that is. It's under new consultants and it's all the way down at the bottom, and it doesn't have all those little squares in there. Peggy, is that making you happier? Okay. On the one that's, we did a revision of it, and the one that's on there now, you probably are not going to see that. You probably won't see all those little squares because I'm looking at one and I'm not seeing those little squares, okay? And so getting back to if you haven't done it and you think you're too busy, and it actually happened to me because I ended the month with an event on a Friday night. I had a major event on a Saturday and just all kinds of stuff going on. And then with events, you know, that comes dealing with people and following and putting shows in and signing up people and that kind of stuff. Praise God, I am not complaining. But I had to make myself stop and think, wait a minute, you're scattered, you're all over the place, bring it home, you know what to do what you know to do, and you will always know what to do. And I set my goal card up, and what I do, and it's not good enough to set it up, don't show your hands. You have to look at it. And you have to check it off. So at least once a week, make sure you're taking a look at your goal card and checking off the things that you're getting completed. I like accountability. It helps me so much. I love having to, I have an accountability partner about some stuff. I love having to send a text on a Saturday morning and say, I did XXX. I don't do any excuses. We don't do excuses. We don't have time. We just don't have time. But if you have an accountability partner, your upline or whoever, you can just send a little text that says, or some people like to do it on Mondays because that's training day. I did blocks 1, 3, 7. Do you know what that does for you? I promise you, if you know you got to tell somebody, you're so embarrassed. I had one week, I won't tell you what happened that week, but I was so embarrassed to send that text, and I said, I would never want to feel like this again in my life. So it's a big motivator if you will just do that. On this goal card, I'm going to point out in the first block, and it talks about my JE goal for the month. Just put something that you want to do. Maybe it's help somebody promote to star 3. This isn't about your promotion. It's something you want to do. And then on your coaching project, which is number 12, that's Usually what I will do with my team members when I'm doing my one-on-one with them, if there's something, I can think of somebody right now who really wants to sponsor, and she is struggling with that. And so what's on the gold card and we have on hers for that block? We are doing some one-on-ones, we're doing some role playing, just finished doing some. You pick the thing that that person needs, and that's what you use as your coaching project. There was something else I wanted to point out. Oh, block number 8. Block number 8 has 12 follow-ups, 12 hostesses, 12 opportunities, and 12 new people. And so you think, well, I don't get it. Why can't I just do 100 people? Because you need a balance. You need a balance of all kinds of contacts. If you're just doing, and Sharon Vaughn taught me this, she had done direct sales with somebody else, and she talked to me, I think she used the word fielding. I can't remember what she said, but I know what she meant. I know what she means now. She was talking about always bringing new people, always getting in front of new people, always talking about new people. So the reason this is broken out in 12, of course, you can do more, but you want to have at least a basic contact with 12 in each of those categories so you have some balance in sponsoring, in booking, in new people, and then in follow-ups. So I'll open for questions in a minute because I want to talk to you about contacts and follow-ups. We did something on our team one week. In fact, I've continued it. We did it one week, and it was just kind of incredible. It was kind of a God thing early one morning. We did, some of us did, in the course of one day, we each did 12 contacts. It was kind of interesting, and you can spread this out throughout the day, or you can do it in one setting. Some people did it in one setting, and it maybe took about an hour and 15 minutes. But what we broke that down, and the first thing we did was 3 good deeds, no matter what they were. A card, calling somebody just because, anything you would consider a good deed. And then we did 3 follow-ups, and this is just for whatever. How's your product working? As Tammy was talking about and Bev was talking about, is that working out for you? Is there, and not so much about is there anything else you need, but a simple follow-up. Somebody shared something with you when you were talking, and it's good to make little notes, by the way, and you just want to do a follow-up. And then 3 hostess contacts, and that could be something like hostess coaching, or you know what, I noted on your customer appreciation card that you might like to have some friends together, get some friends together. Anything like that with 3 hostesses. Some of this will be by phone, some of it's going to be by text, some of it's going to be by email, and maybe by Facebook, but it needs to be individual and it needs to be personalized. And then the last 3 was opportunities, 3 opportunity contacts. And I tell you, I have actually bought that system into my life, and I'm doing that weekly. And it's actually kind of fun. I have a busy life like most of you, but I usually am not doing mine in one setting. I'm just working it in throughout the day. Now, I wasn't prepared for the outflow from that the first time I did it. I was really busy, but praise God. But I got so excited about it, and I thought, well, this is good. Why don't I just do this every week? So if you're somebody who does not have a lot of shows, and in fact, anybody, even if you do have a lot of shows, if you get into the habit of, say, maybe pulling one day a week where you're going to do 12 contacts, it always gives you something to do. So we talked about the gold card as one system. We talked about the contacts as another system. And then this is the final system. And Beth Jones talks about this. And I've been doing this for years. Have yourself a monthly show. It can be just one hostess. It could be a mystery hostess. It could be a multi-hostess. It could be a multi-hostess, multi-consultant. But let me tell you what that does for you. Now, if you have something in place and it's working for you and you have a lot of shows and have a lot of bookings, fine, just do what you're doing. But if you are a person who does not have that, create an event. I do one every single, well, in December we canceled because of ice. But I do one usually the first Saturday of every month. And mine is multi-hostess, of course, because it's grown. But it didn't start like it is now. It started with one person. I can remember being at my house, cleaning my house and doing all this work and having 2 people there. And then I had to ask myself, wait a minute, you're doing something wrong because this is not working. But what I learned to have fun. I learned to take care of my customers. I learned to honor whoever was there. I would always count the chairs that were full. And I would always make those people feel special. Guess what happened? What do you think happened? They told other people. And so now we outgrew my house. And that in itself is a blessing, but it didn't start out that way. So if you don't have that, if you don't have relationships so that you can do that right now, start with one person. Somebody mentioned, I think it was Nancy, whoever the person is you do a one-on-one with, say, you know what, I'm going to start something monthly. I'd love to have you come. Bring a couple of people if you can. No pressure. I don't do pressure at all. But I'll give you an example. On Saturday, I had a lady come. She's new. I just met her. She bought friends. She ended up with $300 and something in sales. Awesome. And she's so excited. She can't wait to come back in March. And she's bringing a bunch of folks. Mm-hmm. But it starts just with that one person. It starts with just honoring people. And when I talked about relationships, I got to go back to something. The relationship shouldn't be just about Jordan Essentials. In fact, on the contrary, we should learn to be kind to people just because, expecting nothing in return from people who can do nothing for us. Sometimes we have great customer service and we have an opportunity to put in one of those little things that say we had great customer service. Wow, you don't really know how that feels for a person. I just did that for the guy who cleans the grounds at the hospital where I work. He is just the sweetest person. He's out there in sub-zero temperatures getting the ice off of those sidewalks so we don't break our necks. And I did that for him because he's just special to me. And he came up to say thank you, and it was just a really moving moment. So remember to say thank you to people. And to care about people just for the thought of caring. And so we're going to finalize this by talking about 3 organizational tools. I laugh because I say the same thing over and over, but I say it because it works, and I know because I use it. But 3 simple things. Anybody write little sticky notes and you have them all over the place and you can't find stuff? Mm-hmm. What about somebody tell you something, or you say you're going to do something and you wrote it someplace but you don't know where it is, or that address of somebody, that phone number? Okay, that used to happen to me all the time. I was all over the place. Somebody tell me they want something, I don't know what they want, and it was embarrassing to have to call them back. So I'm going to talk about 3 simple tools. You know I am. How much you think this costs? $1. And I love this calendar because it's flat and simple. It fits in my purse. But if you will use your calendar, if you will write down your events, if you're going to schedule the follow-ups 1 day a week, write the day that you're going to do your 12 follow-ups. If you're going to schedule an event a month, and try to do it the same day of the week, the same time. Like mine is the first Saturday at 1 o'clock. Everybody knows I'm branded by that. Okay, so I'm branding. So the calendar, you could even write mileage on the calendar. And then your notebook, how much does this cost?
$1.
$1. And I actually give this stuff out sometime because I like to do added value in my shows and do little tips on organization and that kind of stuff. But $1. So what's in here? I won't let you read it because it looks rough. Because I scribble. I write a lot of notes. But in the beginning of it, it has my running to-do list. And I just have a running to-do list so I can always go back and see where I am. In the center portion of it, it has my follow-ups, my people I'm talking to, and in the end of it has my notes. So when I'm on a training call or I've been writing notes, I'm here, it's all together. And then if I didn't talk about the timer, Cindy would say, oh my goodness, I don't believe she didn't talk about the timer. They get to hear this a lot. But that timer is psychological, and I know it but it works. So basically what it means, you have something to do. Mom used to always say the hardest part about any job is getting started. And you guys all know you can procrastinate. Then you got to do this job, and when you get in it, you've gotten it done in just a short period of time, and you have stressed about it for months sometimes. So you get use a timer gets you started, you get what you need to get done, and you move on. What I have found, I can set the timer and I far exceed what I would have done, because once I get started, I'm in rhythm, and I'm doing. And if you have a hard time with phone calls, you don't want to do callbacks, you don't want to do follow-ups, the timer is one of the best tools you could ever use, because this is what you could tell yourself. Okay, I really don't want to do this, but I tell you what, I can do it for 30 minutes. I'll do it for 30 minutes. And you can do about anything for 30 minutes. And once you set it for 30 minutes, I promise you're going to talk longer than that. And then just wrapping this up, I'm going to wrap it up with attitude. I've talked about attitude a little bit earlier, but I have to go back to attitude, because attitude is 90% of the battle. So, and I go back to the negativity. If negativity is a part of your DNA and you think it isn't, because you can change that. I know. I had to learn. I had to learn to change my language and the way I talk about myself, or the way I talk. And don't spend energy on gossip. That's wasted energy. That's energy that you can use to do something positive and something valuable. So from today's event, if you could take an hour, 2 hours, whatever you can afford, and just take some time by yourself and just think about, and maybe even take a notepad and just jot things you want to do, things you want, and then do an outline. Just use your profile, decide what it is that you want to do. And I'm not talking about just in Jordan Essentials. Jordan Essentials is just one thing. Jordan Essentials is really a vehicle. Whether you know it or not, it's simply a vehicle for bigger, much bigger things. But decide what you want to do, and then do your goal card, set it up, and then from each training that you've had today, pull something that you want to do. Don't try to do it all at once. It's going to overwhelm you. But I guarantee if you do 3 things, each month, whether it feels like you're standing in place or not, if you do 3 things, if you have a monthly event, just one, if you do 12 contacts once a week, and I don't mean that's the only contacts that you do, because I do a lot more than that, but that's my concentrated effort. If you do that, and then you use your goal card and set your goal card and use it, you're going to have success in this business. I know it's tried and proven. I see it. I could just go down the line and list some names of people who are just moving in the right direction. So I'm going to end this and open with questions. Who has questions? Y'all are just ready to leave now, right? Uh-oh, I have a question in the back. Uh-huh. No, ma'am. I do it literally as a spa show. I do it just as if I were doing a spa show. It's just that most times, practically all the time now, I have more than one hostess. And like on Saturday, first Saturday in March, there'll probably be, 4 or 5 consultants, and we'll at least have one hostess. We've worked one time, but there's a synergy. There's just something exciting about just having that mix of people in the room. So it's just a spa show. And we may do facials, we may do minerals, we always do hands. Now, answer your question? Anybody else?
Do you have the same people come every month?
That's a very interesting question. The question is, do you have the same people come every month? Many of the same, I have new people coming all the time, but many of the same people do come because they love it. And by the way, we don't use the word spa show. We call it a get-together, a spa event, a spa extravaganza. It's just something about the word show. It seems to be intimidating to some people. We are doing it at a place called The Village, a gathering at The Village. But yes, I often have many of the same people because it's a fellowship for us now. Yes, ma'am.
At this point,
That is a very good question, Angie, and it actually happens both ways. Many times when I'm at the event, that is not when my booking happens. Most of the time, my bookings happen when I'm following up. Or like a lady who was there on the 1st said, Gloria, I'm coming on the 1st. Can't wait to come back, and I'm bringing some people. That's a booking. So it happens either way. Sometimes, most of the time I'm contacting them or they're letting me know before we leave. And by the way, I celebrate birthdays. Every single month I celebrate birthdays. And I encourage people to host in their birthday month because I get to give them a free gift, and so does Jordan Essentials. And that's a big one. On your little cat cards, if you will look at their birth dates and call and say, hey, we're having a birthday celebration on Saturday with our spa event, would love to have you there so we can celebrate you. And if you want to bring some people, we can give you some free product. No stress, no pressure. Yes, Debbie?
How are you marketing this to your customers, just your general customer base?
That's a good question, Debbie. I love this question. Okay, so I did an event Friday night that was nothing, it wasn't sales. It was just pampering some women, blessing them and whatever. Some pretty amazing things have already come out of that. So as I'm doing my follow-ups, I'm saying, talked to somebody yesterday, she's new in the area, and say, guess what? You know, every month we get together, would love to have you come, meet some people, whatever. She said, I'd love that. So everybody, and I work this event the entire month. After my event, I'm working on my next event the entire month. So when I'm doing a follow-up, hey, just want to let you know we're getting together at the Village on Saturday, the first Saturday, So, and then I do an invite. Yeah, I do an invite to them. About mid-month, I'll get an invite out, and then I'll do a reminder about 5 days before the event. I do paper. Angie, don't get upset with me. I do paper invites. I know everybody who knows me know I'm not the techie person. I'm more the people person. Anything else? Great questions.
You know, and I've been to one of Gloria's events. The synergy is awesome. Really, really awesome. The girls are just, you can't tell who's a hostess and who's a consultant. So let's give Gloria some of our thanksgivings for being here.